The day Suge Knight tried forcing Master P to check in.
Yeah, I got a phone call from Suge one time.
He's out of prison.
Master P looked him in the eye and said,
Oh, he said Cal ain't big enough for me, him, and Puffy.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Well, I say, when you moving, because I just bought a house.
This is the story of how Master P walked into Suge Knight's territory, refused to kneel, and saved Snoop Dogg's life in the process.
You know, man, I grew up in the Galileo project.
right.
Ain't nobody gonna solve press me, man.
Right.
I don't care who you is.
Back in the late 90s, three forces ruled Los Angeles: earthquakes, traffic, and Suge Knight. But while the first two just made you late for work, Suge could end your career or your life. The man was the Grim Reaper of the music industry. He didn't walk into rooms, he loomed.
He was not scared of Suge Knight. They was terrified of Suge Knight.
Right.
I mean, terrified.
I know.
No, to death.
Suge Knight ran Death Row Records with the intensity of a mafia boss and the ego of a movie villain. Tupac, Dr. Dre, and Snoop Dogg, megastars, were all under his shadow.
Everybody else was scared of
Right.
everybody. That's when Suge Knight was the monster, the boogeyman.
So when a new face entered LA and didn't check in with Suge, it wasn't just seen as bold. It was borderline.
Everybody at that time was deadly afraid of shit.
That face, Master P. Now, Master P wasn't just another Southern rapper trying to get a slice of the West Coast pie. He was a whole different baker. Hailing from New Orleans, P came in with vision, grit, and a business sense sharper than Suge's intimidation game. Where Suge used fear, P used finesse. Where Suge weaponized loyalty, P inspired it.
I was working against the devil, and through the grace of God, Master P put a deal together.
His approach was simple. Artists should own their work, not be shackled by the record industry. Naturally, this earned him the respect of his peers and some serious enemies.
They spent all this money on your album and marketing, but wasn't getting no way out ass money. On No Limit had money. Everybody on No Limit had a house, a car, two in a bank account.
Notably, Suge Knight, Diddy, and Birdman saw Master P as a threat, someone who was changing the game and, most importantly, stealing their shine.
Puffy and them was rocking, but they wasn't getting no money like Master P was. And I had been around they camp, I had been around Def Jam, I was on Death Row.
Master P founded No Limit Records, a label that didn't just pay its artists, it empowered them. P flipped the script in an industry notorious for shady deals and exploitation. His artists got checks, got credit, got equity. No Limit wasn't just a label, it was a movement.
I had seen all of the that supposedly had the money. Master P had money.
True independence.
He had the money.
And this movement caught fire fast. Suge was used to being the undisputed king of the West Coast. But P wasn't intimidated. He made it clear, No Limit was a force to be reckoned with, and there would be no checking in to Suge's rule.
I've never been afraid of no man, you know.
While Suge was beefing and brawling, P was out here turning independent hustle into generational wealth. By the time he moved to LA, he was already building an empire. But things got spicy when he attempted to sign none other than Snoop Dogg.
I told Snoop, we the biggest company in the world now. If he needed a home, why not be with us?
Snoop was still tied to Death Row, but he was disillusioned.
So it's my job to keep Death Row on top of the rap game. Ever since we've been in it, we've been on top, so I can't let us fall.
He just survived a murder trial. He and Dr. Dre had split, and Tupac was gone.
Years don't get much more emotionally trying than the one Snoop Doggy Dogg has just gone through. Surviving a murder trial.
Not guilty of the crime of murder in the first degree.
And Suge, he was behind bars.
Death Row Records mastermind Marion Suge Knight has been in lockdown for violating state probation by beating the hell out of some guy at a Las Vegas casino.
But by the late 1990s, Death Row Records, once the king of the West Coast rap game, was falling apart.
But Suge became too invested in hood politics that brought the business down.
The notorious Suge Knight ran the label with an iron fist and had seen his empire crumble due to legal battles and a series of internal conflicts. By 1997, Death Row was on its last legs, and it was clear that things were about to get ugly.
Suge was in jail, but that doesn't mean Suge is not still coming after you.
And Snoop? His business was in shambles, mismanaged by Death Row management.
My business was garbage back then. Death Row Records. I let them control everything because I trusted them and I felt like they wouldn't do me wrong. They put me in the game.
Snoop needed a fresh start, far away from the chaos Death Row had caused.
Everything was in Suge Knight's name. Business account was his account. Manager was his wife. Imagine all of that being twisted up like an octopus. On top of that, I was being just disrespected, like, oh, he's whack.
And Master P gave it to him, no strings attached. P saw potential in Snoop.
Oh, I told Snoop, we the biggest company in the world now. If he needed a home, why not be with us?
He wasn't just another artist, he was a huge name, and P knew No Limit could take him higher. He laid it out. We represent the South, and we're on top. Why not join us?
And that's when Master P stepped in and gave me a better situation.
I respected Snoop. As an artist, I was a fan. I felt like Snoop needed a team.
The industry was stunned. Suge's golden child was now riding with the Southern General.
To me, Suge and Master P were the same kind of people.
Probably sell about $10 million this time.
Two brilliant, business-minded, Fortune 500 guys from the street.
Suge Knight wasn't about to let go of his biggest artist without a fight. He tried to control Snoop, but Master P wasn't intimidated. He stood his ground, knowing this was more than a business decision. It was a matter of survival.
Everybody at that time was deadly afraid of Suge.
But Master P wasn't fazed. He didn't care about the threats. He was never afraid of any man. Master P made the deal happen.
Master P went to go visit Suge Knight in the penitentiary and struck a deal.
Death Row had to sell Snoop to keep the business rolling. No limit we could make a business move like that.
He met with Suge Knight in prison, worked out some numbers, and put up the cash.
I met with Suge Knight and said, look, man, what you want for Snoop? I heard that you got a deal on the table.
The price for Snoop's freedom? A couple of $1 million. But P didn't stop there. He added more money, sweetening the deal and ensuring it was done right.
Conversation, they got to understand it. Worked out some numbers.
Told me what it was. And I put an extra $200,000 or $300,000 on it.
Once the deal was signed, it was official. Snoop Dogg was now a no-limit soldier. And it wasn't just a career move for him. It was a life-changing moment. Snoop performed his first concert with No Limit fans, and the reception was overwhelming. People were ready for something new and embraced Snoop with open arms.
I mean, he showed me how to put business because I hadn't had a record label. I was always talking that doggy style but I didn't have no record label. Master P showed me how to put a label together, how to go get money.
Snoop was on a roll. From featuring on Gangsta Shit with Mystical to setting Snoop up, Master P helped him bounce back financially.
And I told him I wanted $3,500 because I was broke and I was just like, could he get some money? P gave me a check for $35,000. All right, he put another zero on that motherfucker. It's my kind of nigga.
In 1999, Snoop released his sophomore No Limit album, Top Dog, which went off the charts.
Oh my we own it now.
I was like, ooh, I wanted to get on it, but damn, it wasn't my album, it wasn't my song.
Down with no limit, I ride for the cause.
In total, he did 3 blasting albums with Master.
I did 3 albums with Master P.
3 albums?
Yeah, when I left Death Row Records, I signed with No Limit Records, which was the hottest rap label in the industry. When I signed with No Limit Records, they was the hottest.
But here's the twist. Snoop wasn't just switching labels. He was considering dropping a diss track aimed directly at Suge. After the ink dried on the deal, Snoop was ready to go on the offensive. His idea? To release an album titled F***CK Death Row, a full-on diss project aimed at Suge Knight and the label that had made him a star. To Snoop, it was his way of venting years of frustration. But to Master P, it was a reckless move that could cost Snoop his life. Suge Knight's associates were still powerful. A diss album would ignite a violent reaction. Master P wasn't about to let that happen. Imagine that. The beat was ready. The bars were locked and loaded. Snoop wanted to let it fly, but Master P, calm, calculated, wise beyond his years, stopped it. Don't do it, he told Snoop. Not out of fear, out of foresight. Dropping that track would have been career and maybe the other kind too. This was the streets. Suge still had soldiers, still had pull. So P made the call. No diss, no fuel for the fire.
Master P, he had a plan for us. He ran down
what he thought that should happen as far as music, albums, movies.
In that moment, he didn't just save Snoop's career, he might have saved his life. Snoop himself credits Master P with saving his life, and when you look at the context of the time, it's easy to see why. Leaving death row wasn't just a career move. It was an act of rebellion in an industry where rebellion was often met with violence. Then came the infamous I Got the Hookup comedy jam in 1998 in Universal City. The vibe was electric, and the show was sold out. On stage, it was laughter and music, but backstage, it was war.
So in 1998, Master P did a I Got the Hookup comedy jam at the Universal Amphitheater in Universal City, California.
I'm a big fan of Master P, and I'm just looking forward. He's just constantly breaking history and making.
Snoop was chilling in the green room, enjoying the calm before the storm, when 7 men in black, death row affiliates surrounded him. The mood flipped instantly.
We went on stage, and Dogg got left.
He was in the green room.
So this is what happened. We sitting on the inside. Death row guys walk up. So we chopped it up. 5 minutes later, it's about 7 of them around me. I ain't paying attention. So the soldiers then went on stage. Now I'm back here talking to these death about myself.
One leaned in and whispered, "You owe Suge an apology." Snoop blinked. For what?
We end up yapping and yapping and yapping. They talking behind my ear. So I'm like, let me holler at you. So now they were like, you owe Suge an apology. I'm like, Suge. Like, what?
Then came the swing. A punch flew, missed, and just like that, chaos detonated.
Maybe Snoop was talking crazy to them, and they caught him slipping.
Hey, now I'm back here talking to these death row niggas about myself. Try to take off on me. Whoa, he missed. I get out of there.
Word reached Master P's crew on stage. They dropped their mics and sprinted off. Camouflage shirts and red bandanas turned the backstage into a war zone. Chairs flew, fists flew, the air cracked with tension.
They literally ran off the stage in the middle of the performance.
And everybody was like running out of the gate, so we run after.
DJ's got the record spinning. There's gunshots.
Cops swarmed the building, guns drawn, helicopters buzzed overhead, and Snoop ran right into the hands of the cops.
I get a whiz, no cuts, no scars, no hits, no nothing, but I run right into the law. The weed in my pocket and everything, because I'm trying to save my life. They handcuffed me. He put me in the back of the police car.
Meanwhile, everyone was looking for him and thought the death row guys had attacked him.
They didn't know where Snoop was. They're screaming, "Where the f is Snoop? Snoop all right?" The 20 cops aiming shotguns at him. They're screaming back, "You all need to get on your knees. Everybody on your knees." And they're like, "We ain't getting on our knees."
Nobody knew. Snoop had vanished into the chaos. When the dust settled, some were cuffed, others scattered, and somehow Snoop and Ray J, yes, Ray J, ended up in a holding cell together, like he just stumbled into an episode of Oz.
They take me and my cousin Daz to jail, and when we get in there, Ray J's in there. So we spend 4 hours in jail with Ray J. I ain't making this up, man.
It was madness, but it also made one thing clear. Master P wasn't to be played with. That night, he proved he wasn't just a rapper, he wasn't just a businessman, he was a leader. And No Limit wasn't just a label anymore. It was a shield, a fortress, a family. After the dust-up, Snoop was officially No Limit for life. And P, he went into overdrive.
No Limit did prove to Snoop that we had his back.
He's not with Death Row no more, he's with No Limit. Nobody's messing with Snoop. That's it.
He didn't just double down, he expanded. Music was just step one. Movies came next. No Limit films hit the scene. I Got the Hookup, Hot Boys, and a $10 million deal with Trimark followed. Studios didn't want him in their projects, they wanted him running them.
In 1999, we want to expand our brand, so we did action movies, and we were able to sell that in about 30 different territories.
And that's how Master P got a $10 million 5-picture deal with Trimark. Nobody in hip-hop was doing that. Nobody.
We expanded, and y'all just might see me on Scream 3 too.
And then came wrestling. Yep, P took No Limit to WCW. 2 matches, $2 million. Done and dusted. He didn't care about belts. He cared about bags. But that's the Master P blueprint. Pivot, elevate, dominate. He even made a serious run at the NBA. The Toronto Raptors gave him a preseason shot. He balled with Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady and didn't look out of place. A $3 million contract was almost on the table, until front office drama iced the deal. Still, The man went from rap battles to running drills with NBA legends. Who does that?
I had a $3 million one-year deal on the table, and the next day, they decided to go a different direction because Vince Carter, agent Tank, had got in trouble.
Through it all, he never folded, never faked it. While Suge Knight's empire crumbled under ego and violence, Master P's legacy grew through strategy and vision. In that infamous check-in attempt, they picked the wrong one. Master P didn't just survive it, he thrived through it. The boogeyman met his match, and the boss walked away crowned. By the early 2000s, Suge Knight was behind bars, but still talking like he was running things. And in a new prison interview that went full scorched earth, Suge claimed that Death Row didn't just inspire Master P, he was trying to be Death Row. According to Suge, Master P was moving city to city, New Orleans to Texas, then the Bay, before finally landing in LA. And to Suge, that was where things got real.
Basically got ran out of there. You went to the Bay. Once you get on the West Coast, shit get real on the Bay.
He said P didn't have tough guys around him, and he mocked the idea that Master P was ever really about that life. But Suge wasn't done. He slammed No Limit's music catalog, claiming that while Death Row had timeless classics like The Chronic, Doggy Style, and All Eyes on Me, nobody in prison was bumping No Limit. He claimed that Master P never visited him in prison and that he only loaned Snoop to No Limit.
You lied and said you came to visit me in prison, which you never did. You said you got Snoop for me, which you never did. I sold Snoop bitch ass to Priority Records and Brian Turner.
Petty, sure, but this wasn't just trash talk. It was Suge defending his legacy. He even mocked P's signature tank logo and chain. And it didn't stop at music or fashion. Suge even took jabs at how Master P raised his kids. The irony? While Suge was pointing fingers from prison, Master P was out here making music, business, and film moves. Suge was flexing faded memories. P was building futures. Suge accused P of everything from stealing a Tupac track to jacking female artists' ad-libs. He called him a country bunkin who bought his records to fake success. But here's the twist. Suge's rants said more about his insecurity than P's strategy. Whether or not Master P borrowed inspiration from Death Row, one thing is clear. He did it better. No Limit artists got paid. Death Row artists got paid in stress and lawsuits. No Limit was about ownership. Death Row, chaos. So maybe Suge was right. Maybe Master P did try to be like Death Row, but only in how a student tries to be better than the teacher. And in the long run, the student built a legacy. Suge Knight wasn't the only one Master P had to face in the hip-hop industry. He also had a rivalry with Birdman. In the 90s, New Orleans wasn't just cooking gumbo. It was cooking up two of the most powerful record labels in Southern hip-hop history, No Limit Records and Cash Money Records. On one side, you had Master P, a Calio Projects hustler who took his grind out west and built an empire called No Limit in Richmond, California. On the other side, you had brothers Brian Birdman Williams and Ronald Slim Williams, who launched Cash Money Records in the heart of Uptown's Magnolia Projects. Both camps came up around the same time, 1991. Both had visions, and both had a chip on their shoulder. But even though they were neighbors, they were never friends. While Master P was mastering the independent game, selling tapes out the trunk, building street buzz, and stacking millions, Cash Money was slowly building a roster of their own. Early signees like Kilo G, UNLV, and Pimp Daddy gave them a local presence. But it wasn't until they brought in Lil Wayne, Juvenile, Turk, and BG, and locked in Manny Fresh as their in-house producer, that they had a formula. Meanwhile, P was turning No Limit into a machine. He brought his brothers Silk, The Shocker, and C Murder on board, signed Mia X, and then recruited KLC and Beats by the Pound to craft the signature No Limit sound. The label quickly became a magnet for New Orleans talent. Mystical, Fiend, Kane and Abel, Mr. Servon, Soulja Slim. The list was deep. The success wasn't just local. Master P negotiated a groundbreaking distribution deal with Priority Records, 85/15 split in his favor. No Limit was running full speed, dropping an insane number of albums each year and raking in millions. Back in New Orleans, Cash Money was making noise, but it didn't have the machine. It was selling units regionally through Southwest Wholesale, but it needed a major to take it national. That's when things got interesting. At one point, Master P and his camp sat down with Birdman and Slim. There was talk of a possible partnership between No Limit and Cash Money, but the meeting fell apart fast. There were too many differences, business-wise, street-wise, ego-wise, they couldn't make it work. Worse, when Priority Records showed interest in signing Cash Money, Master P allegedly stepped in and shut it down. P was Calio. Birdman was Magnolia. In New Orleans, those lines weren't just territorial but personal. P wasn't about to open the door for a rival from across the street to get on his level.
I had people talking to me and they said, Cash Money's looking for a distribution deal, and I was prepared to do it. But P was really serious about not letting us sign Cash Money.
That move lit a fire under Cash Money.
He said, yeah, if you sign those guys, there's going to be a big problem.
In 1998, they struck gold with a distribution deal from Universal Records, an 80/20th split that brought in $30 million up front. Juvenile's 400 Degrees dropped that same year, and the Cash Money brand officially exploded. The hit Ha made national noise, and BG's Chopper City in the Ghetto fueled the fire.
Cash Money ended up signing with Universal. It was the way it was supposed to happen. These guys went and built something that was supposed to be a part of Southern hip hop too.
No Limit responded with a power move of their own, signing Snoop Dogg fresh off his messy exit from death row and locking in New Orleans legend Soulja Slim. Snoop wasn't just a West Coast legend, he was a symbol, a win. P was making power moves that went beyond New Orleans. That year alone, No Limit released 23 albums and sold over 15 million units, pulling in around $23 million. For a while, both labels dominated the airwaves and the streets.
We got too comfortable with being at the top.
Master P was working on everything but music, which he seemed to be fine with.
Was tragically killed. The empire that once ran the South was slipping.
Beats by the Pound got into a little beef with P.
They felt they were worth more. Percy was also very busy.
By 2004, the label was in decline, weighed down by legal issues, internal drama, and an oversaturated market. Meanwhile, Cash Money evolved.
Cash Money Records taking over for the 99 in the 2000s.
Lil Wayne launched Young Money in 2009 and signed the next generation, Nicki Minaj, Drake, and Tyga. Artists who took the brand global and ushered in a new era of dominance. The beef between No Limit and Cash Money was never just about music. It was pride, neighborhoods, hustle, and legacy. Master P may have opened the doors, but Birdman kicked them off the hinges.
You got Cash Money following the blueprint that Master P laid out.
They were kind of grinding in a parallel state with No Limit, but P was kind of away doing his thing.
At the heart of it all, though, is this. Master P and Birdman never saw eye to eye, not in business, approach, or philosophy. Master P played chess, Birdman played dice, and both built legacies that defined the South. But if Master P built the foundation, Birdman built the skyscraper right next door and didn't ask for permission. Their rivalry wasn't loud, but it was real. And for the artists caught in the crossfire, loyalty wasn't just a word. It was survival. How Master P forever changed the music industry. If you're talking about someone who changed the game without scamming artists, someone who turned the music industry upside down and ensured his people got paid, you better put some respect on the name. Master P born Percy Miller in New Orleans. Master P didn't come into the game with a silver spoon. He came with grit, game, and a vision sharper than a box cutter. Before hip-hop was obsessed with luxury cars and label deals, Master P was out the trunk of his car, selling tapes hand-to-hand, city-to-city like a lyrical trapper.
From the ground up and work our way to the top. We don't have no limit.
P was like, some of us ain't gonna make it.
I have to really change my life.
While other artists begged labels for deals, P built his empire brick by brick, from the pavement to the penthouse. Now here's where the game changed. 1996. Master P inked one of the most legendary, unheard of deals in music history. He entered Priority Records and left with an 80/20th split. 80% for him, 20% for the label.
But it was a great first deal. He got to own his masters, which was a wonderful thing. It was an 80/20 split, if I remember correctly. It did grow to be an 85/15.
I was able to get an 80/20 deal and do this. Now you got all these other companies coming. You building and creating all this other wealth so we can help our communities and our culture.
That's not just rare, that's damn near robbery in reverse, especially in an industry where most artists were lucky to see 10%. He didn't just secure the bag, he secured the factory where the bags were made. And while everyone else was busy making hits, P was making history. Even Snoop Dogg said there was no real money in rap until Master P showed us the business side. Death Row had all the power, but No Limit had the money. P gave artists homes, cars, respect, and most importantly, a damn good check. No shady paperwork, no chains on contracts, just loyalty and business. While most rappers left promo to the labels, Master P was the label. He paid for his marketing, hit the road himself, pushed CDs like weight. He knew his worth and he made the industry pay it. He spent $25K hiring Michael Jackson's lawyer to structure that priority deal. Then he reinvested every dime he had from his retail store in promoting his music independently. BET, VH1, radio, in-store posters, you name it, he covered it. Every time his music hit a new city, Master P had already been there, leaving a trail of gold tank imprints behind him. When his album Ice Cream Man dropped, it didn't just go gold. It exploded like fireworks over Bourbon Street. That was 500,000 copies sold, and P kept 80% of the profits and 100% of the masters. That's not hustle, that's legacy building. Now the industry wasn't having it. Priority Records only got crumbs. They tried charging him marketing fees. $200K here, $300K there, for work he was already doing himself. P smelled the BS. And instead of crying foul, he played chess. He finessed the system by telling Priority he was launching a new label, new No Limit Records, and needed funding to promote other artists. That money, he flipped it back into his own campaigns. The game was theirs. The hustle was his. While other labels were busy robbing their artists blind, Master P handed out vision. He didn't just sign rappers. He turned them into CEOs, business owners, and brands. He showed the hood that we didn't have to be exploited to be successful. That independence was the real flex. Master P didn't just make money in rap. He made rap make money.